A cordial greeting. Today is Friday, October 24, 2025. This is meteorologist Ruben Garcia. At the time of recording this video, it is 5 p.m. local time in Jamaica, where the outlook is not very encouraging since the latest projections indicate that Tropical Storm Melissa could pass over Jamaica as a Category 4 or Category 5 hurricane, possibly being the most intense hurricane on record to affect Jamaica. This is why residents of Jamaica are urged to immediately complete their preparations and seek a safe place to shelter while the storm lasts, which unfortunately will affect the island for a period of 3 to 4 days. And as I did in the morning video, I would like to read the key messages shared by the National Hurricane Center in the 5 p.m. advisory, taking into consideration that Tropical Storm Melissa has begun to strengthen and at any moment will begin a process of rapid intensification. For Jamaica, the National Hurricane Center notes that due to Melissa's slow movement, a prolonged multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall capable of producing potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides is likely to begin between Saturday night and Sunday. There is an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surge when the circulation center approaches Jamaica early next week. Preparations to protect life and property should be completed urgently. Meanwhile, for Haiti, the following statement has also been issued. Heavy rainfall will cause catastrophic flash flooding and landslides across southwestern Haiti through early next week. Extensive damage to roads and buildings is expected, potentially isolating communities for an extended period. Immediate action should be taken to protect life and property. Strong winds could last a day or more over the Tiburon Peninsula and Haiti. In addition, for the Dominican Republic, they state the following. Heavy rainfall could produce potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides across southern portions of the Dominican Republic. Meanwhile, for eastern Cuba and the Bahamas, the following has been issued. Interests in Cuba and the Bahamas should monitor the progress of Melissa since there is an increasing risk of significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of next week. The risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides is increasing for eastern Cuba. So, some very strong words from the National Hurricane Center, giving us an idea of how dangerous Tropical Storm Melissa is and how difficult the situation is for the Caribbean. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Tropical Storm Melissa has begun to strengthen and currently has maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour or 105 kilometers per hour. And as we can see in the visible satellite animation, the structure looks more organized, and we can see the development of some bands, which are signs that it will begin to strengthen rapidly starting tonight. So unfortunately, the forecast we've been discussing for several days is coming true, where the system was expected to encounter extremely favorable conditions for intensification, compounded by the fact that it will move very slowly across the area toward the south and over Jamaica, with rainfall continuing to affect Haiti and the Dominican Republic. In the next image, we can clearly see how the circulation center has become more defined and organized, and we also see the development of bands in the southeastern quadrant that will help the system strengthen. Possibly, by the early hours of Saturday morning, we will already have a Category 1 hurricane. On the other hand, notice that there is also a strong band of thunderstorms affecting southern and eastern Dominican Republic, where significant flooding has been reported since yesterday, and unfortunately, the rain will continue to move over the area throughout the weekend. In addition, some bands have reached Puerto Rico, where rainfall totals between 1 and 3 inches have also been recorded. In fact, according to the latest projections for southern Dominican Republic and Haiti, this weekend through Sunday, rainfall totals between 200 and 400 millimeters are expected in southern Dominican Republic, and between 200 and up to 800 millimeters in parts of Haiti's Tiburon Peninsula. So, a complex situation as well for Hispaniola, even though the circulation center will remain far from the area. Now then, during the past 24 hours, we've seen that Tropical Storm Melissa has had erratic movement since its circulation was very weak and has been reorganizing. However, in the latest advisory, it has begun moving northward again. And as we can see, the trajectory models this afternoon show a west-northwest movement during the next 3 to 4 days and then bring the circulation center over eastern or central Jamaica. Starting Tuesday, it will begin moving northeastward, reaching eastern Cuba and then the southern Bahamas between Wednesday and Thursday. Unfortunately, we are seeing the worst-case scenario, in which rapid intensification models indicate that during the next 36 hours, Melissa could strengthen from a tropical storm to a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane, and in about 3 days, that is, by Sunday, we could have a Category 4 or even Category 5 hurricane as it moves over Jamaica. In the 5 p.m. advisory, the National Hurricane Center forecasts that during the early hours of Saturday, it will be a Category 1 or Category 2 hurricane, and by Saturday night or early Sunday morning, a Category 3 hurricane, then strengthening into a Category 4 or nearly Category 5 hurricane south of Jamaica by Monday afternoon, with maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour, or 250 kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, the forecast indicates it could pass right through the middle of the island of Jamaica, leaving the most dangerous quadrant over the city of Kingston. At this time, a tropical storm warning and a hurricane watch remain in effect for Jamaica, while a tropical storm warning and hurricane watch are also in effect for southern Haiti. Then, by Thursday night, it should be crossing Santiago de Cuba in eastern Cuba, possibly as a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane, depending on how much it weakens if it crosses Jamaica during the afternoon and evening on Wednesday, reaching parts of the southern Bahamas. Now I will show some projections from the intensity models. For example, one model shows a Category 4 hurricane approaching southern Jamaica Monday morning, while another shows a Category 5 hurricane with a central pressure of 900 millibars approaching Jamaica around midday Monday. And another specialized intensity model also shows a Category 5 hurricane with a central pressure of 911 millibars approaching Jamaica Monday night. So everything seems to indicate that Jamaica will experience the worst part of the cyclone between Sunday and Monday. However, remember that its slow movement will leave tropical storm force winds beginning Saturday and lasting through Wednesday. Overall, the ensemble members from different models agree on this general track, although there is still some spread regarding exactly where the circulation center will enter over Jamaica, as well as the areas of eastern Cuba and the southern Bahamas. This is the ensemble projection of the American model, and compared with the European model, we see generally the same scenario. The vast majority of members show a track over Jamaica, dramatically increasing the likelihood of impact on the island, and then moving into parts of eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. On the other hand, the National Hurricane Center notes that the projection from Google's artificial intelligence model, which has been very accurate this year, unfortunately shows all members depicting a Category 4 or 5 hurricane making landfall somewhere over Jamaica, and then continuing as a Category 3 or 4 hurricane over eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos Islands. So, a very unfortunate situation if these model projections come true. Let's briefly look at the impacts anticipated according to the European model, which has a track very similar to that of the National Hurricane Center. The model projects that between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the system should strengthen, and by Monday it could reach Category 4 or Category 5 intensity before moving over Jamaica, which, if it happens, would make it the most intense cyclone in Jamaica's history. Then, between Tuesday night and Wednesday, the cyclone crosses eastern Cuba and the southern Bahamas with some wind gusts over 220 kilometers per hour. So if you live between Las Tunas, Campechuela, Santiago de Cuba, and Alguin, you should prepare for the effects of a major hurricane. Now, I would like to zoom in on the island of Jamaica so you can see the projection of the highest wind gusts expected during the passage of future Hurricane Melissa over the region. And notice that between Tuesday and Wednesday, some wind gusts over 275 kilometers per hour could affect parts of central and eastern Jamaica, including Kingston. Remember that these winds could also cause an extreme storm surge event capable of flooding coastal regions. And as if that weren't enough, the cyclone's slow movement will cause excessive rainfall accumulations. According to the latest projection from the European model, between 700 and 800 millimeters of rainfall could accumulate over the next 7 days in Jamaica, while for eastern Cuba and the southern Bahamas, totals between 200 and 300 millimeters are expected. So please, if you live in a flood-prone area, whether in eastern Cuba, Jamaica, southern Haiti, or southern Dominican Republic, you should relocate to a safe place while the storm passes. And remember that there is still some possibility that changes could arise in the forecast. As an example, the American model has a track over eastern Jamaica with wind gusts of 175 kilometers per hour. That is, a Category 3 or 4 hurricane, and then continues on a path between Cuba and Haiti. This means that areas of western Haiti should also prepare for hurricane impacts in case the track shifts farther east. Under this projection, the highest rainfall totals could occur in southwestern Haiti and southern Dominican Republic, with additional rainfall accumulations exceeding 400 millimeters. Well, that's all for this forecast update on what will soon be Hurricane Melissa. Here at Hurricane Info, I will continue to closely monitor its progress, and on Saturday morning I will record a new update that will be available around 8 a.m. So I ask you to share this video with others so the information can reach them. And please, if you are in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, or Eastern Cuba, it is important that you stay tuned to forecast updates. That's why I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and click the bell to receive notifications when I record new videos. Well, the team is committed to keeping you informed, so stay tuned for new content. See you later.